Hi everyone! So today I'm going to talk about some upcoming releases in 2022 that I'm really looking forward to reading. Full disclosure, I planned this video a while back, so the first two books on this list I've actually already read or am currently reading, but I'm still going to tell you what they are because they were still good, so I still think you should read them too. But without further ado, let's dive into this video. So the first book is The Best Men by Sarina Bowen and Lauren Blakely. And I already read this book. It was released on January 18th, 2022. So I'll give you a quick read of the synopsis for each book. And then this one, since I already read it, I can give you a little more if you want. Not that you can tell me what you want, but okay, so this is The Best Men. In my defense, I was left alone with a bottle of single malt and a lifelong penchant for protecting my baby sister. Still, that's no excuse to send 10 drunk texts on why her hasty marriage would be a mistake. If only I had just texted my sister, but nope. I accidentally sent the message to her, her groom, and his super hot wingman. I also used the phrase super hot wingman, so I'd like to die now. Instead, I have to plan a wedding with the aforementioned hottie and share a too-small guest house in steamy Miami. 3 days in the sun with the cocky, charming former athlete who likes to push my buttons? Fine, two can play at that let's infuriate each other game. Until Asher ups the stakes with one wildly sexy suggestion, a no-strings fling when I go back to my single dad life in New York and he returns to his star-studded one. Sign me up. But the more nights I spend with the other best man, the more I want days to, and that just can't happen. So that one was really nice. Sarina Bowen her books are always a classic. Both characters were really lovable. Like the one guy, Mark, who's kind of narrating most of the story, he's like a single dad, and he went through a divorce with like his high school sweetheart, and so things are kind of messy for him, but he's like a real dork. He loves to do math, and he works in a bank or does something with like money. And Asher is like this ex-soccer player, and he's really like suave and charming, and he, has a big like nightlife and all this stuff. And so together they have like this really interesting dynamic. So that one was really good, actually. I really enjoyed it. All right, so the next one I started it this morning because it just was released today when I'm filming, and that is Twisted Hate by Anna Huang. So it was released today, January 27th, 2022, and I'm only a few chapters in, but like, it's already so exciting. I've been waiting so long for this one. But I will read the synopsis. Gorgeous, cocky, and fast on his way to becoming a hotshot doctor, Josh Chen has never met a woman he couldn't charm, except for Jules Ambrose. The beautiful redhead has been a thorn in his side since they met, but she also consumes his thoughts in a way no woman ever has. When their animosity explodes into one unforgettable night, he proposes a solution that'll get her out of his system once and for all, an enemies with benefits arrangement with simple rules. No jealousy, no strings attached, and absolutely no falling in love. Outgoing and ambitious, Jules Ambrose is a former party girl who's focused on one thing: passing the attorney's bar exam. The last thing she needs is to get involved with a doctor who puts the suffer in insufferable, no matter how good looking he is. But the more she gets to know him, the more she realizes there's more than meets the eye to the man she's hated for so long. Her best friend's brother, her nemesis, and her only salvation. Theirs is a match made in hell, and when the demons from their past catch up with them, they're faced with truth that could either save them or destroy everything that they've worked for. So this book is the third in a series by Anna Huang. So if you've read the first two, they're called Twisted Love and Twisted Games, which were both equally good. And then there's a fourth coming out soon, probably like in 2023, called Twisted Lies, which I'm hoping is centered on the fourth girl in the friend group, Stella. And so I'm very excited for that as well. But I'm only a few chapters in, so I can't really tell you how it is, but so far it's very enjoyable. Hello, it's editing me. I finished Twisted Hate in one day. I finished it last night, and yes, I can confirm it was very good. I found Jules a lot more lovable in this book than she was in the previous two books. I was of the opinion that she was a little obnoxious, but in this book, you get her backstory and some of her actions make more sense. And overall, I really enjoyed the story, and I'm really looking forward to Twisted Lies, which is actually coming out in June of 2022, so just a short 6 months away. So the next book is Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher, which is the second in the Dreamland Billionaire series, the first being The Fine Print, which probably many of you have read. So that one is being released February 24th, 2022, so in just under a month. So I'll read you the synopsis for this one. So this is Declan. I'm destined to become the next CEO of my family's media empire. The only problem? My grandfather's inheritance clause. Fulfilling his dying wish of getting married and having an heir seemed impossible until my assistant volunteers for the job. Our marriage was supposed to be the perfect solution to my biggest problem, but the more we act in love for the public, the more unsure I feel about our contract. Caring about Iris was never part of the deal, especially not when breaking her heart is inevitable. So this is Iris. My plan to marry Declan was simple in theory. Move in together, throw a wedding, have a baby. We set rules to prevent any kind of issues, ones that were never meant to be broken, no matter how much Declan tempts me. But what happens when our fake relationship bleeds into our real one? Falling in love was never an option, at least not for me. So that one sounds exciting. I was actually really excited to read this book about Declan because I think of all of the clauses in the inheritance clause by the grandfather, I think Declan's was definitely the most interesting to me. So we'll see how that one goes, but I'm looking forward to that one coming out as well. So this next one is highly anticipated by many people, and it's the fourth book in the From Blood and Ash series by Jennifer Armentrout. Hi, editing me again. I actually forgot to say the name of the book. It's A War of Two Queens. Thank you, bye. And it's being released on March 15th, 2022. So this is the synopsis for this one. Castile Denier knows all too well that very few are as cunning or vicious as the Blood Queen, but no one, not even him, could have prepared for the staggering revelations. The magnitude of what the Blood Queen has done is almost unthinkable. Nothing will stop Poppy from freeing her king and destroying everything the Blood Crown stands for. With the strength of the primal of life's guards behind her and the support of the Wolven, Poppy must convince the Atlantean generals to make war her way, because there can be no retreat this time. Not if she has any hope of building a future where both kingdoms can reside in peace. Together, Poppy and Castile must embrace traditions old and new to safeguard those they hold dear, to protect those who cannot defend themselves. But war is only the beginning. Ancient primal powers have already stirred, revealing the horror of what began eons ago. To end what the Blood Queen has begun, Poppy might have to become what she has been prophesied to be, what she fears the most. So, because the third book finished on such a cliffhanger, I think a lot of people are really looking forward to reading this book and seeing how it resolves itself. So I myself can be counted in that group of people. I'm really excited for this to come out. And honestly, Jennifer Armentrout just always hits the nail right on the head with her books. So I'm really looking forward to reading it. So the next few books I've grouped together because they're all written by the same author. So Ellie Hazelwood, who is the author of The Love Hypothesis, she is coming out with a new novel as well as a series of novellas that are all interconnected. So the novellas are coming out first, and hold on, let me check the dates. So Under One Roof is coming out May 3rd, Stuck With You is coming out June 7th, and Below Zero is coming out July 5th. And from what it sounds like, sounds like they're all about like three friends in a friend group, three female friends who probably each find love, I'm assuming, given that we're in the romance genre. And then she's also coming out with a book called Love on the Brain, which is coming out in August, on August 23rd. And that's the one that I'm most excited for because it's like a full-length novel. So let me read you the synopsis for that one. Like an avenging purple-haired Jedi, bringing balance to the mansplained universe, B, insert last name here that I can't pronounce, lives by a simple code. What would Marie Curie do? If NASA offered her the lead on a neuroengineering project, a literal dream come true after years scraping by on the crumbs of academia, Marie would accept without hesitation. Duh. But the mother of modern physics never had to co-lead with Levi Ward. Sure, Levi is attractive in a tall, dark, and piercing eyes kind of way. And sure, he caught her in his powerfully corded arms like a romance novel hero when she accidentally damseled in distress on her first day in the lab. But Levi made his feelings toward Bee very clear in grad school. Arch enemies work best employed in their own galaxies far, far away. Now her equipment is missing, the staff is ignoring her, and Bee finds her floundering career in somewhat of a pickle. Perhaps it's her occipital cortex playing tricks on her, but Bee could swear she can see Levi softening into an ally. backing her plays, seconding her ideas, devouring her with those eyes. And the possibilities have all her neurons firing. But when it comes to actually make a move and put her heart on the line, there's only one question that matters. What will Bee do? So, honestly, I'm vibing. The fact that she has purple hair is already giving me life. That's very exciting. The first comment on this Goodreads post just says, Allie Hazelwood has me in a chokehold. Yes, I agree with that. The next book is called Book Lovers by Emily Henry. So if you know Emily Henry, she also wrote Beach Read and People We Meet on Vacation. And actually, I have an upcoming video where I talk about People We Meet on Vacation, but long story short, I have not read it, though I plan to. It's on my TBR, and I should probably read it before I read this one. But anyways, this one I'm looking forward to because I read Beach Read and I really enjoyed it. Nora Stevens' life is books. She's read them all, and she is not that type of heroine. Not the plucky one, not the laid-back dream girl, and especially not the sweetheart. In fact, the only people Nora is a heroine for are her clients, for whom she lands enormous deals as a cutthroat literary agent, and her beloved sister Libby. Which is why she agrees to go to Sunshine Falls, North Carolina for the month of August, when Libby begs her for a sister's trip away, with visions of a small-town transformation for Nora, who she's convinced needs to become the heroine in her own story. But instead of picnics in meadows or run-ins with a handsome country doctor or bulging four-armed bartender, Nora keeps bumping into Charlie Lastra, a bookish, brooding editor from back in the city. It would be a meet cute if not for the fact that they've met many times and it's never been cute. If Nora knows she's not an ideal heroine, Charlie knows he's nobody's hero. But as they are thrown together again and again, in a series of coincidences no editor worth their salt would allow, what they discover might just unravel the carefully crafted stories they've written about themselves. So that sounds intriguing. I can't even contain my excitement about the next one. The next one is A Game of Retribution by Scarlett St. Clair. So she wrote the Hades Persephone saga that was like really popular on TikTok a while back. A Touch of Darkness, A Touch of Ruin, and A Touch of Chaos. But this is part of the sister series, which is called the Hades saga, and it's basically the same books but written from his perspective, but there are lots of different conflicts happening at the same time, so it doesn't feel like you're reading like the same book twice. Like Hades has a lot more going on, and actually because of that I think his series is a lot more interesting because you get a lot more of like the Greek mythology stuff, and there's so much going on that he doesn't share with Persephone, so you get a little peek into Hades' life as a god. Not that Persephone is not a goddess, but you know. Anyways, so this book comes out May 31st, so I'll read the synopsis. Hades, god of the dead, does not take sides or bend the rules. He makes no exceptions to these values, not for god or mortal, or even his lover Persephone, goddess of spring. Usually, fear prevents retaliation, but not this time. When Hera, goddess of women, approaches Hades with a plan to overthrow Zeus, he declines to offer help. As punishment, Hera sentences Hades to perform a series of labors. Each feat seems more impossible than the last and draws his attention away from Persephone, whose own tragedy has left her questioning whether she can be the queen of the underworld. So if you've read the female series, the Persephone series, in the second book, she's going through a really tough time, and Hades is like noticeably absent for a lot of that book, off doing his own thing, and Persephone is like mad at him. She's like, where have you been? I'm struggling. And so she does some questionable things, and he is gone for a lot of it, so this series will, I hope, explain why he's been absent, and hopefully we'll get to see a lot of Greek god action, so I like that. I'm very excited. Okay, so the last book today, they actually recently released the cover and it is gorgeous and I am even more excited than ever, but it's The American Roommate Experiment by Elena Armas. So she's the one that wrote The Spanish Love Deception, and this book is about Rosie, who is... Waffle! And this book is about Rosie, who's Catalina's like best work friend, or probably best friend, and I think the male lead is actually Catalina's cousin, who's from Spain, Lucas, who I think Rosie inquired about in the first book. Anyways, it's coming out on September 6th, and they just released the cover, and it is so pretty, and I'm so excited. But let me read the synopsis here. Rosie Graham has a problem. A few, actually. She just quit her well-paid job to focus on her secret career as a romance writer. She hasn't told her family and now has terrible writer's block. Then the ceiling of her New York apartment literally crumbles on her. Luckily, she has her best friend Lena's spare key while she's out of town, but Rosie doesn't know that Lena has already lent her apartment to her cousin Lucas, who Rosie has been stalking, for lack of a better word, on Instagram for the last few months. Lucas seems intent on coming to her rescue like a Spanish knight in shining armor, only this one strolls around the place in a towel, has a distracting grin, and an irresistible accent. Oh, and he cooks. Lucas offers to let Rosie stay with him, at least until she can find some affordable temporary housing, and then he proposes an outrageous experiment to bring back her literary muse and meet her deadline. He'll take her on a series of experimental dates meant to jumpstart her romantic inspiration. Rosie has nothing to lose. Her silly online crush is totally under control, but Lucas's time in New York has an expiration date, and 6 weeks may not be enough for either her or her deadline. And in the comments, it looks like Aaron and Catalina are going to make an appearance, which is very exciting. Yeah, this sounds good, honestly. Although I'm surprised that Rosie quits her job at the firm that they work at, because she had just been promoted in the Spanish Love Deception to be like a team lead with Catalina, so it's interesting. But I'm very excited, and this honestly gives me beach read vibes, like the way that they kind of go on dates to like spark like the romance writing. Yeah, so I'm very excited about that. And also forced proximity is a trope that you don't mess around with, so I'm very excited. Those are my highly anticipated reads of 2022 so far. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like it, please comment, please subscribe to my channel. I'm back here every Monday with new videos about books and probably my dog, because she's so very cute. So I'll see you next Monday.